Hey everyone, it's Shelly Hoffman with Heart Home Community, and I'm here with our mayor, Dick Clarke, who once again is nice enough to give us some time on Wednesday morning to give us some updates of what's happening around our village. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Kind of getting used to this. We're getting ready to start another jigsaw puzzle, so
Nice.
life goes on. We're in phase two. It's been nice to go around the village and see some outdoor seating at the restaurants, and hopefully that's helping the business, work better, that they can accommodate more people. And those people who say, I don't want to take it home, I want to eat out. Now they got that option. And our code officer, Greg Humphrey, has been working with all of the restaurants to try to facilitate them being able to put a couple tables out. I noticed that the new place on the corner, the grain, the health food.
Yep.
Forgive me if I try to keep track of Brick and Barrel and Grain and what, but they have a few cafe
I had it
tables.
in my head until you just said it. Oh my goodness. Greens and grains, or grains and grains.
And I saw they had like 4 tables on two on each side of the corner. And there were people at 2 of the tables at like 4 o'clock yesterday. So, people are taking advantage, and I'm hoping it helps especially the newer businesses that are really trying to get going. And the weather's been nice, so people want to be out. And I'm expecting more will join in. Maybe Pizza Man and Sal's will try to figure out a way to put 2 or 3 tables out. We did pass at our meeting Thursday night an open container waiver for Angry Garlic, so they can serve alcohol to people that are eating outside. The others we haven't heard from. I'm assuming we might. I know that Brick and Barrel is looking to get a liquor license. They had people outside the other day. I went by. There were a couple different tables where people were eating. So, and same with the canal walk, the canal side. Try to keep track of that one too. And there was a couple eating out on the porch. So that slowly people are starting to realize that they can go out and eat. I think the tables, most of them are set up for 2 people. I think that was kind of the hope of the state.
Angry Garlic, I think you can have up to 4, but Olive's Eatery also has their tables because they've always had tables on that side porch. So they have some distance there, and I've seen people eating there as well, which is nice.
Yes, I did see somebody put on Facebook that they had gone there for dinner the other night, and it was great. So that's nice. Speaking of codes, I might as well. I got Greg. I asked him if there's anything that people should know. He said, remind people construction is a go, but they have to contact the codes office for a permit, and to give them a call at 635-2481 or send an email to codes@baldwinsville.org. And is in capital letters. He said, please mow your lawn. Not you necessarily. Yours looks good. Your lawn looks great. But there are some people who it appears have not mowed their lawn since the snow left. And which we send them notices, and then we mow it. Will be a little more expensive than if you hire somebody to come in and mow it yourself. So you might want to get it done. And I know that a lot of people don't think it's a big deal, but 2 or 3 of the ones that are taller, there are reports of people seeing mice running in and out of the grass. There's plenty of place to hide in there. Somebody sent me a note that when they go next to that lawn, they get fleas on their legs, jumping on their legs, and they think there might be it's a vacant house, so there might be a fox living in the house. So we have all kinds of issues. So people, take care of your property. Don't leave it up to the village to come in and take charge. It'd cost you considerably more, and you'll not be happy, I'm sure. Nobody ever is.
We do have a question, Mayor, if I could interrupt your list for 1 second. Somebody wants to know if you'd ever thought about turning the sewer system over to Onondaga County to lose the sewer tax. Is that something that was ever talked about?
Wanting to know whether we're turning our sewers over to the county?
Would you ever think about turning the sewer system to the county?
Well, that's the county plan. We may not have a choice, and I don't think we can just say, here,
We'll
take
do
them.
it.
They're not quite ready for it. They have a huge problem on the east side of the county, the DeWitt, Manlius area. They've been threatened with huge fines from the state and the federal government because the sewers leak and so on and so on. And so they are working on that part of the county. And it's kind of like a 5 or 6 year. Ours aren't as bad. I mean, we take pretty good care of our sewers. Sounds crazy to say that, but our sewers are well taken care of. But matter of fact, if anybody saw down behind the sports bowl, we just finished up fixing a crack in a sewer so then we can put a liner in it, which keeps water from leaking into the sewer and then sending water to the sewer treatment plant to fill up, the treatment areas with clear water. They would like it if only sewage makes it to the sewage treatment plant. So we've been pretty good about trying to do a stretch of the village every year. And we ran into a situation where there was a blockage because the pipe had broken and shifted, and they will not pay for that. So we went in, fixed it, put the liner in so that I don't know at what point, whether we're at 25-30% of the village now the sewer pipes have been lined so that it prevents that infiltration of water, which then means less stuff that really doesn't need to be treated showing up for treatment. So it isn't a case of whether we would like to turn it over. It's just a case of kind of when the county gets around to taking it. Because at this point, they don't have the tools in place to just say, oh, sure, give us your sewer system. We'll take over. I think people would be disappointed to find out that the service might not be quite as good. I mean, if you call today and you have a sewer problem, you're flushing your toilet and nothing's going anywhere, we'll generally have somebody at your house in an hour. And it may take us a day or two to get it taken care of, but at least we respond and try to find out what the problem is, whether we can take care of it, whether we need to hire somebody to take care of it. And so having the local government in charge is better for the homeowners. Doesn't present us with too many extra problems, and we have the staff for it. And if we turn it over to the county, it isn't like your village taxes might go down, but your county taxes are going to you're going to pay for it one way or the other. And I like the idea that when Shelley Hoffman calls with a water problem, somebody from the water department is at your house sometimes in a half hour. And if you're dealing with the county or somebody else, it might be 2 days, which is unacceptable if you're having problems with your water. I mean, you want it done right away. So there's a real advantage to having local control over that type of stuff. So I don't know if that quite answers the question, but maybe I'll offer some explanation.
Yeah. He did say thanks for the information. So
okay. If people have questions on the phase 2 or like our village offices are back to pretty well full staffed. All the social distancing, we have glass in between everybody, so there's no, that nobody can breathe on anybody. There are masks available, gloves available, disinfectant hand stuff, so that all of our employees feel comfortable with having the safety things they need. Kind of forgot where I was headed with that. New York State has all kinds of guidance. That if you go on that New York Forward or whatever, there's an area that will tell businesses what your obligation is to your employees about the 14-day. I didn't realize till today there was a session on NICOM that when you talk about the 14, we have to guarantee people 14 days of sick leave if they're told they have to quarantine. But that for instance, if you get diagnosed Monday morning and you say the doctor says you need to stay home for 2 weeks, that 14-day sick leave starts that day and it runs 14 consecutive days. So technically you're getting 10 paid days, but it covers a span of 14. So it would be Wednesday to Tuesday type of thing, so that for businesses should probably check all that so that they don't get themselves confused and find out they've done something that they weren't supposed to do, or give something away that maybe they didn't need to give away to an employee. But really, just again, ask everybody to be extra careful for your employees' sake. It benefits you to not have them sick, and it certainly benefits them and their families to not get something. Do everything we can. Village Hall is still locked down, as is police department. Still available for phone calls. Everything seems to be running pretty smoothly. I asked Mo Butler, and she said, we haven't had anybody call up and complain they couldn't get their bill paid because they couldn't get in the office. So, we are working on what we will do for the day when people may be able to come back in. I know the court is trying to zero in. They don't know when they're going to open, but theirs is an extensive from the door into the court, and they're talking about sneeze guards and all kinds of protection. So it's not as simple as some people think. But they are, everything is sort of ongoing. People are working at stuff and trying to get ready for the day when somebody says, okay, you have to have court starting this week.
But that's not a phase, right? There's no phase for that.
No, and NICOM was pointing out today that there was no phase for municipal government, that it didn't say if phase 2, you could bring back all your non-essentials. It doesn't cover municipal, but there was an executive order somewhere along the way talking about after phase 2 began, you could start bringing back within 2 weeks non-essentials. And then, of course, the definition of essential and non-essential, NICOM said they don't like the term. And then when you start talking about municipal government, most everybody is essential because you only have a couple people in each office. And so it's up to the municipality to determine essential and non. We have, say, our codes office, we have 2 people, a clerk, part-time clerk, and Greg Humphrey. Well, if Greg is out in the field all the time, it's sort of essential to have somebody answering phones at least half the day you hate for people to just keep leaving messages. They don't talk to anybody. So if Greg is out inspecting, it's nice to know that at least maybe from 8 to 12, we had somebody in the office to field, and she can reply to some of the messages. And Mary's very good at that stuff. And so to me, she's essential. So, and they're in an office that's not huge. So they're working on putting up a sneeze guard, and Greg has been using the mayor's office when Mary's in for as much as possible, because there's a phone and a desk, and he can go in and make phone calls and not be in the same room with Mary. So everybody's working to keep the distancing thing going, and realizing that if you're in a room, they probably keep the door open so air is moving and that type of stuff. So everybody in all our businesses needs to look out for their employees. And from what I hear, people are doing a pretty good job of that. I talked to Ruth at Canton Woods. They're still working with the Peace Senior Nutrition Program for the pickup, takeout lunch at Canton Woods. Date has not been set, but when they do set a date, reservations will be required. So somebody will have to call Canton Woods and say, I want to be part of that program. Can you put me down? It'll be like a Monday and Friday. You'll get a lunch on Monday to take home. It'll be frozen. Take it home, put it in the microwave, or put it in the fridge and use it Tuesday. And then you get another one on Friday. So at least 2 days a week, seniors who sign up will be able to get a nutrition type lunch. There have been questions over the years. We've gotten farmers market coupons to distribute to seniors, so they get a break on fresh produce and that type of stuff. They have not heard anything yet, but keep calling Canton Woods, and Ruth will give you information. And as soon as we find out something, we'll share it, and we'll put it on our Facebook site and our website and that type of stuff. Although a lot of seniors don't use Facebook, we still try to get the word circulating. We can tell.
What farmers market do they get the coupon for? I know we're trying to get one here in Baldwinsville, but that hasn't, as far as I know, that hasn't been
That
set up
hasn't
yet.
materialized yet. We're still working. I think it works at any farmer's market.
Oh, nice.
It kind of goes in line with the SNAP programs and that type of stuff. So a senior comes and gets, I don't know, 20% off of up to $5 worth of produce or something similar to that. When my mother-in-law was still alive, she got a couple when she lived with us, and she was able to go to the farmer's market and pick up a few things and get a little bit of a break. And it's every little bit helps for people on fixed income. So keep track with the senior center, and when those become available, there are a few farmers markets that are going on. If anybody would like to get involved with running the farmers market, it is a little complicated because there have to be some safety precautions. I know that they were having, in one of the farmers market, they had vehicles 10 feet apart. They had two people, one handles the produce, one handles the money, so that the people handling the money aren't touching the produce. It's one way in, so in other words, you came in from one direction, you walk down and then exit. You can't come in the other way. So there needs to be a few people on hand to stand at the exit and just say, oh, you have to go to the other end, and have to wear masks, so social distancing. So I have talked with the Rotary. I know that there had been some conversation with Beeville, helping Beeville, getting involved possibly. So we're, something may happen. I hope we can get something going. I know people really enjoy it. And boy, there's nothing this time of year like starting to get some fresh produce, and just being out of the house to get it is wonderful. So we will keep digging and hope that somebody will step forward, and we'll help them get all the rules so they do it right. And I hope I have good news the next time I talk to you.
That would be nice. I didn't give you the rule this week, no bad news, but good news next week would be awesome.
That's sort of iffy news, so that's not quite bad. There were some questions I got from a couple seniors about helping with their income taxes. Normally they would go to the senior center or the library where there's free help. People volunteer. Obviously that has not happened, and I believe July 15th may be the deadline. Now, whether that gets extended again, I don't know, but there are some seniors who have not been able to get somebody help them. And people would say it's simple, but some seniors have vision problems. Some just, it's hard to read those pages and the charts and, where you fall. So again, keep in touch with the senior center. And Ruth said she would be checking with people to see if there was, I don't know how they can do it without contact. I suppose you could come in and drop it on a desk and go sit on the other side of the room, and people could ask you questions. If you need it done bad enough, you make it work. So we'll see. But again, it's the senior center is available. You can call them all day. If Ruth isn't in, she has it forwarded to one of the other ladies who works with her, and they'll get you answers as soon as they can. Let's see, we've done codes, village hall, police. Actually, quite quiet with the police now. We were on call for the weekend. It was very quiet. Everybody was thrilled to death, despite all the Facebook rumors of impending doom and so on. It went very nicely, and I think it's a real credit to our police departments locally. Many of them were well prepared if anything was going to happen. So we should have a hats off to our local police departments. It's like anything else. They're the ones that you deal with every day, and it's nice to know that they're on the job and looking out for you. And we're very fortunate in Baldwinsville to have a great police department. I just can't say it enough. So DPW. Oh, last thing with the Canton Woods, they do still have masks. They might have puzzles that you can swap out if you have a jigsaw puzzle, that type of thing. So Canton Woods is trying to be as involved as possible.
Good.
The DPW is busy. If you're around the village today, we've started milling as part of our street paving project. When I talked to Steve, he was up on MacArthur Road because we have to have some of our people as traffic control. And so they're at each end of the streets. And he said he had to go back over to Division Street. Some people have wondered why we don't do like a whole neighborhood. A couple people in Baldwin Hills said some of the streets up there are in bad shape. We're doing one of the streets. But this way, you kind of spread it around so that more people get to feel that we're looking out for them. If you live on MacArthur Road, I know when we announced the paving, somebody that I know on MacArthur was just ecstatic because had felt that road was in bad shape. So somebody from there, somebody from Baldwin Hills, somebody from the south side, they're all getting a street taken care of. And we have a pretty extensive program, and we're well above what the state gives us. I mean, we're putting a lot of our own money into the paving. So we think it's important, and we don't want to have this be an excuse for our streets deteriorating even more, because we will never catch up. This way, we got a chance at the 6 or 7 local streets getting done. Next year, I know it's Downer and Tappan are the targets, big streets. And we're going to hopefully get to a point here in another couple of years where we'll say everything has been done within the last 6 or 7 years. Hopefully, then we can then do a little patchwork. Maybe one little part of a street deteriorates because of flooding or something, and we can, at a much lower cost, we can take care of what needs to be taken care of. So hopefully people enjoy seeing those pieces of equipment on the streets because it's for your benefit. So the milling is today, tomorrow, Friday, and then Friday, I think afternoon, they go back and start paving. Okay. So go on our Facebook site, Village Facebook site, or the website if you don't know the schedule, because you will be impacted more so when the paving starts. And you don't want to get blocked in your driveway and not be able to get out and go to work. So please check. If you don't have access to those things, call the DPW 635-9665, and they'll give you the schedule. Okay. So you brush next week. Steve pointed out it might not start on Monday because we have guys working with the milling and paving, and he may not have enough people to start on Monday. It may start like Tuesday afternoon and go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday instead of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So just be patient and know that we will be out. It just may not start on Monday.
So you know what I learned from Steve this past week though about the brush pickup, because I have a lot. I mean, if you've seen my house, there's a lot of overgrowth and stuff. Is I guess you can get something parked in your driveway, and they drop it off, and you put everything in yourself, and they pick it up. So for a bigger project like mine's going to be, instead of having to haul it all to the road on the week that brush pickup is, that's a service that the village offers, and he said that's at no charge either.
Yeah, it's called Park a Truck. And it's one of the big dump trucks they bring and give it to you. We weren't doing it in the beginning because it required one person to drive that truck and one to drive a pickup truck and then take the other one back to the shop.
I do remember you telling me about that. I just didn't know what it was.
You didn't want 2 people in the truck together when we first had people come back to work. Now it's apparently, it says social distancing when you can. Well, so we can put them in a truck. They can have masks on. They can have windows open, and it's only a short time that they're like that. So we have gone back to the Parker truck. You call Village Hall at 635-3521 and sign up for the Parker truck. And like you said, they bring it at 3 o'clock or 2:45 and leave it overnight. And then in the morning, somebody comes and they pick it up. So you can, it's not only helps you, but it helps us because it's not that great, big, huge pile at the road that it takes a lot of work to get it out into the road, and saves our guys. But it certainly saves you breaking your back carting it all to the road. We had it one year here when we cut down some trees in the backyard, and it was much simpler for me to cart it to the road. I mean, they parked it on the street because we have cars in the driveway, and they put it on the street, but it was fine. I really, this was before I think I was on the board, and knew about the program. So it's called Park a Truck. Please take advantage of it. And if you have a professional come in and cut a tree and they leave, the tree cut up, we would really prefer that you ask them to remove the brush. Not, you're paying for that service, and then they're getting off by letting us pick up all the branches when they're supposed to remove. It's usually part of a tree removal service is disposal of the tree stuff. And so we would ask people, if you're having a tree cut down, and to tell the professional, take that with you when you go.
That's common. When I lived over in the Radisson community, if you took it down, you could put it to the curb and Radisson would take it. But if it was a professional that did it, Radisson had the exact same rules. So I think that's pretty much a standard policy.
And every once in a while, you'll see it's a nice pile of lumber by the road, and that somebody had their tree cut down, and so then we try to tell them, you need to get them back and pick it up. Let me see here. We are a little behind on things because we didn't bring people back in it. Normally it's work that we would have had done in March and April, when you get those nice warm days and you can be outside. Some of that includes putting new floats underneath the docks. They all have these big float things that sit underneath them, and some of them have gotten in bad shape. So Steve had the guys replacing them, and they were working on that today. And then he got the call, we're going to start the milling. So the guys who were there had to go to the milling site. We are going to try to get a few docks in over by the wall, so that people who want to come in and maybe go get dinner in the village type of thing. The locks are not open yet. And again, the target is by July 4th. So that's actually doesn't seem so far away now as when we talked about it, 3 or 4 weeks ago. We are within a month, and it might be before the 4th of July. So a lot of boats out on the water yesterday. My wife and I went to the cemeteries and watered flowers and stuff. And over at Riverview, you could see all the boats going by. People are out on the water enjoying it. It's a great way to social distance. I mean, is you and your family on the boat, and nobody can get very close to you. Or at least you hope they don't get very close to you. You'll have worse problems than the virus at that point. Trying to see here if there's anything. I think that's pretty much it. Things are starting to settle down a little bit. We're in the beginning, when we were having lots of news, is because lots of stuff had stopped. Well, now a lot of that stuff has started, so there's not as much to restart. I'm guessing that phase 2 is going pretty good. I've not heard any reports. Ryan McMahon was not on yesterday. He's only doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now. Because first of all, he's got to be absolutely exhausted from standing up there every day saying, we lost another neighbor, please pray for them. And it's very hard on him. But he's also is talking about the fact that they have a $100 million deficit. And he said, we got to get some work done this month to figure out how we're going to deal with it, whether it's going to be layoffs, whether it's going to be raising some taxes or new taxes, or a commitment from the state that some of that money is coming. And this is a key month. The sales tax last year was up like 4.5%. And as of 2 weeks ago, I think it's down 15%. And that's a huge income source.
Yeah.
And from that, we get our AIM money, which is assistance to municipalities, comes out of sales tax. Also our VIP money, which is significant. We get $700,000 from the county. That's in lieu of sales tax, because to remind people, we used to get $1.1 million in sales tax every year. And then the county changed that and we got zero. But fortunately, before the year was out, they came up with a supplemental fund. At the time was a infrastructure fund. It had to be used for paving and so on, which the village did. And now it's called a VIP fund because they realize that this loss of sales tax has really hurt villages and towns. So the county's been very good to us. It is very concerning that how good they can continue to be based on the state situation. Because some states, if you look around, they had 6 or 7 deaths, maybe 1,000 people got sick. They didn't have to redo all their health departments and stuff to take care of it. New York City particularly changed that for all of us. So I'm hoping that the federal government helps, then the state can help the county, and in the same token that helps us. So anybody has any questions, you can go on the village site. My email is dclarke with an E on the end at baldwinsville.org. Anything that concerns you, just questions you might have, feel free. I do have a lot of time right now. I'm home all.
It'll probably come to a halt probably in the next month or so, but right now,
yeah.
Just because
and I understand people are confused and concerned and anxious to get going. But if there's any questions, particularly at a village level, please contact me. And if it's not something I can deal with, I'll get you to the right place.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor. I mean, as always, I know when we first started, you thought there wasn't a lot to talk about, but really, you cover a lot in each of these sessions. So I know I appreciate it, and it seems like the community does as well. So,
great. I appreciate you giving me the avenue to get stuff out to people. So people should very much appreciate you. And if they want to drop off snacks and stuff, Shelley deserves it.
I was gonna say, can you tell my kids that, please? So, you guys enjoy. I can't figure out if it's going to rain or just be hot and humid today.
It looks like it's going to go. Most of it's going to go by us. We might get a quick downpour. We do need rain. And maybe tomorrow is a little more likely that we'll get some. But it looked like it was going northwest of us up onto the lake and the big heavy storms, which are supposed to be nasty. We don't want nasty storms. We just want about a 6-hour steady rain. So there you go, Shelley. That's your job today.
That's my job. Okay, I'll go outside and do the rain dance. If anybody sees me looking funny, that's what I'm doing.
There you go.
All right, well, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll talk next week if I don't see you in the middle of the week.
Okay, thank you very much.